Hello there. Just admiring how carefully the fade is woven into this place, as cultivated as a palace garden.
That's old elven stuff for you. Magic everywhere you look, and also where you don't.
I do envy you, Rook.
Really?
You know how seldom watchers leave Navarra, if ever. You've already traveled more of Thedas than most of us see in a lifetime. What adventures you've had.
You cut a pretty intriguing figure yourself. Do you really think of me as some grand adventurer?
Well, something thrills at traveling with a daring young woman who's racing to stop an apocalypse, especially if she's shown unexpected interest in a new companion.
You have a very charming way of putting things.
Well, thank you. Perhaps those years at the lectern have proved useful. May I show you something of the greater fade here?
Go ahead.
Close your eyes. Take a breath. Slow, deep. Be born on the great currents. See now as they see. When I talk to the dead, their echoes abide with me. Thoughts and passions, hopes and desires. The shades of death have more intricacy than even a young watcher may know, Rook. If your attentions go beyond charming flattery, that would interest me, indeed.
You know, I've never seen another necromancer do what you...
You finished the reagent. Excellent work, Manfred. I must tend to this, but I'd be delighted if we found each other later.
In memory of Rupert and Eleonora Valkarin, they walk eternity hand in hand.
After I became a watcher, I erected a proper shrine to my parents. When I come to talk, I like to think they listen. Well, don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
Rook, also a Morn Watcher. How do you do? Do you remember your parents?
Some memories are bright. Others are akin to those dim early morning dreams one gets sometimes. Lately, I wondered what they'd think of our current course, the choices ahead.
Your lichdom?
What would they have wanted me to be?
Happy with someone who cares for you.
Shroud's Kiss. I've always loved the legend around this flower. They say it grows on lovers' graves, and that one moves closer to the fade simply by inhaling its fragrance.
Is that true?
It is when I will it, my dear.
What else?
What a day of unexpected splendor. How did you find everything?
I never ate this well when I was training in the necropolis.
You may be interested to know I was permitted to raise a few cooks from the royal crypts tonight.
Wait, not from the tomb of Venesca IV?
I'd hoped the evening might impress. The amount of work on you worries me, Rook. Responsibility exacts a toll on the body.
Relax, I'm fine.
I do ask that you at least avoid putting pressure on that stiff left wrist.
It's a little stiff. Impressed you spotted it.
Well, I am familiar with the finer points of anatomy. It's good we made time for this. A couple should get to know one another in comfort.
Time to dig into our feelings?
I'd be delighted if the mood moves you.
What's your favorite color?
Well, can I only choose one?
Let me guess. Black? Green? Yellow, but like a bone yellow?
Lilac.
Of course you went to a flower.
It's such a pretty shade of purple. It brings thoughts of spring. And what's your favorite shade of color?
There's too many for me to pick.
Oh, come now. You made me choose.
Nope. I just implied you had to choose.
And you wonder why I'm afraid to play cards with you.
Rich purple. The kind you get with those really expensive dyes.
It's the color of royalty in some kingdoms.
Maybe I've got ambitions. It's white.
White's not a color.
Fine. It's my favorite non-color. White like fresh snow, or lilies, or the moon.
Well, the imagery is lovely.
It's cliché for a morn watcher, but I'm partial to gold.
Have you started your own collection of grave gold, then?
Here and there. Have to decide which pieces are good enough for eternity. Devastating charm aside, what do you like about me?
Apart from the compliment of your interest?
Come on.
Darling, it's gratifying a fresh-faced adventurer noticed me at all. And your spirit does charm, but there's also something quite indomitable about you, Rook. It inspires.
Aw, thanks. This is one of the more romantic dates I've been on.
How wonderful. I was afraid I'd lost my touch. Between work and research and teaching Manfred, there hasn't been time lately for company.
How lately?
No one's serious for a few years. Apart from that, I'd prefer we leave the past be.
All right. Stay a man of mystery. Okay, so, Emmrich, I wanted to tell you something. You're my first anything. I've never been with anyone romantically.
We can move slowly, and I'm glad you chose me.
It's been good so far.
Oh, excellent.
Anyway, should we enjoy the garden?
Certainly. They're wondering what we're up to. Wisps are ever attracted to the gardens.
Like you?
The Fade is close here, as are spirits I count as guides and friends. Beyond that, I feel there are mysteries past our comprehension. Something beyond the weft of magic or deepest Fade. When I'm fortunate, I spy suggestions of them here.
You're so philosophical around flowers.
It's the purpose of the gardens, to lift our thoughts to something higher and finer than we are.
Like that.
Sometimes, my dear, I think you indulge me.
When I'm in the mood.
His body could only take so much. But I underestimated him, Rook. What bravery in the heart of the dead. And how he grew. Manfred disobeyed me beautifully. He was his own soul at the end.
Can you bring him back?
I will ask.
Emmrich Volkaren. You were not expected so soon.
Hail the Lords of the Necropolis.
Hail the Watchers. What has brought you?
My lord, I come regarding Manfred, my fallen companion.
Yes, there are ways to return his spirit. But should you do this, Lichitom falls from your grasp.
What? Why?
Lichitom is long. If I'm to stand outside death, I must make peace with others passing through it.
What would we otherwise become? How many exceptions till tyranny? Revive him and remain mortal. Or let him slumber and join us.
Emmrich.
Manfred chose to help us. Am I too weak to accept his well-earned rest? I yearn for Lichitom, Rook. That leap into something greater, that everlasting light. Do I revive him and live out my days? Or do I honor death by letting him rest and protect this world through immortality?
Mortality's a hard price. But you'd miss Manfred.
Oh, of course I would. But a Watcher should be more accepting of loss, of grief, of his own death in turn.
You're braver than you know, Emmrich. You've always risked your life. Against Hezenkos, against the gods.
Death's abyss always recedes with someone to brave it for.
I think facing a lot of things would be easier if Manfred was back.
Oh, he was fearless. He has so much potential, Rook. So far to grow.
Then help him do it.
You're absolutely right. I'll need your help. Rest easy, Manfred. We'll soon have you back amongst the living.
Well, never re-raised the dead. I defer to the Senior Watcher.
I've never tried it either. In any other circumstance, this would be fascinating. We'll need assistance finding Manfred's wisp and drawing it back into his body. By pact and pledge, I seek an audience. By light and breath, let wisdom come. You've met these spirits before, but I've never properly introduced you. Rook, allow me to present two Necropolis guardians, the keepsake of ages and far-sighted curio.
Those are your names? You're two of our oldest spirits.
We've watched long enough to be caught in paper thoughts.
Not that we've sought much fame.
Friends, my assistant, my ward, Manfred, sacrificed himself to save us.
We'd heard you'd abandoned Lichitom to bring him back. Your work, your dreams.
You paid the price. But it seems there are many flickers of curiosity in the Fade.
And only one you seek. Draw his wisp near. Speak.
Can I help?
Yes, please. Think of Manfred. Tell me something you felt about him. Concentrate.
He was always so excited to be around you, Emmrich. If spirits can learn to love, he loved you.
In the sea of the Fade, there are wakes left by our passing. Our desires, our fears. I leave this beacon for you, Manfred. Follow my voice. Return to me, please. Manfred?
It worked!
That's wonderful. That's wonderful indeed.
Thanks for stitching that seam on my coat, Fred. It was coming loose. And nice new threads yourself.
Thank you.
Yes, we needed something to mark him as an apprentice around the necropolis.
It's a good fit. See you around.
Yes.
Oh, you know what to call me. Okay, bring it down now.
He's excited for his training. Manfred's spellcraft is coming along nicely, more or less. Some undead have the potential to cast magic. I believe his was unlocked by his journey through the Fade.
What was that like?
Dunno.
You mean you don't know?
Dunno.
We must work on that enunciation. Why don't you fetch the primer?
There goes our magic-flinging skeleton son.
I wouldn't go so far. Certainly I've a responsibility to educate him, and he'll need moral guidance. Most spirits do. But did you know, yesterday he said the most amusing thing while...
He's got your eyes.
As he grows, Manfred will better learn to take care of himself. I won't worry so much when I pass on.
How do you feel about that last part?
I have moments of regret for what Lichitom might have been. But none would make me exchange this for anything. Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. The eve before we kill a god, my thoughts turn to mortality and what we are to each other.
All right.
Even under the best circumstances, you will outlive me, Rook. You've grown to mean much to me, and I care for you, Rook. Deeply. But there are such years between us, I shouldn't heap you with that burden.
I get it. You're scared because you love me.
What?
It's fine to say it.
I can't... At my
You're older than me. I get it.
I'm perfectly serious.
So am I. Why are you making this such a big deal?
One of us has to pay attention to these things.
One of us needs the guts to say how he feels. You care about me? Oh, that's so sweet.
That's not what we're discussing.
It could be.
If I'd known you'd waylay my point,
Are you going to do this every time we go up against something dangerous?
I wish to approach things with a clear head.
Or you're overthinking everything?
One of us needs to consider these things.
Maybe one of us just needs to admit that he's scared. You're breaking my heart by worrying.
Darling, I only wish to be fair to you.
I know what I'm getting into.
At your age,
Don't start.
we must consider this.
You're overthinking it, and it's not the time.
One of us needs to consider my mortality.
Because you're worried about me or insecure about you? Look, let's pack. Eve before we face a god, right?
As you say. Don't start. Rook, dearest, please trust me. I must take you to the necropolis before we confront Elganon.
I trust you, Emmrich.
Thank you, darling.
Did we have to risk visiting the necropolis?
I needed its subtler enchantments to detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
If you and the others hadn't pulled me out... Some watcher I was, stuck in the Fade. And the worst part? I wasn't afraid I'd die. I was afraid I'd be there forever.
You're not. You're here with me.
I'm fine, Emmrich. It's all over.
Only because you had the presence of mind to push forward. If things had gone differently...
I still wouldn't have let them keep us apart.
My love, you are the most remarkable person I've ever known.
I thought so too. It was... I don't know what that was.
A dream. A reflexive curse you overcame with your own reflection.
Thought I knew all about the Veil as a watcher. I still don't know how you found me.
There are things in the Fade we cannot circumscribe. I'm grateful it returned what's most dear to me.
I did have someone to come back to.
Rook? I was going to fetch some breakfast. Would you like anything? Come again?
What time is it?
It's nearly dawn. I've been up for an hour.
Oh, of course you're an early riser.
I like to take my exercise in the morning.
That's nice. If you didn't have stately good looks, this would be a problem.
Is that yes to breakfast?
Maybe later. How come?
It's when I normally wake up.
On purpose? Peaceful down here. You can almost pretend nothing's wrong up top.
When I'm with you, it feels as if there isn't.
That's sweet.
I do mean it. Whatever's in store for us, together, my darling, that's how we'll face it.
I know. We could stay here just a little longer.
What are you... If you insist. Oh, it is purest relief to see us all gathered safe and sound. And Manfred would never forgive me if we returned without Nev. Elganon must fear what we might accomplish once we storm his tower.
I never dreamed a pair of watchers would decide the fate of the Fade, especially me.
To always watch over the boundaries of death and measure the dreaming sea. Elganon is a tyrant, but it's truly Solus who threatens us. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down, once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I love you too, Emmrich.
Come what may, I will carry those words with me. I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. No man alive is more fortunate than I. Speak the word, Rook, and I shall stand by your side. There are stories of love.
But those stories aren't over. Emmrich, Lichitom is your life's work, your dream.
I imagined I knew its price. If I haven't even the strength to accept Manfred's sacrifice, I would outlive you all, Rook.
Would you still remember us?
Always. Kept alive in Lichitom's immortal memory. Death's swift touch, held back for all time.
If you really want to go beyond death, I think you have what you need to let all of us rest.
And peace shall follow. You're right. After I make my farewells, I will undergo the last rites of Lichitom. And Rook, thank you.
Why is it so cold in here? Hello, Vorgoth.
Rook, Vorgoth and I have just finished discussing some preparations for my Lichitom.
I shall be with you until the end.
Classic Vorgoth. Is this a bad time?
I've so much to do. Crafting a glamour, for example. After Lichitom, I'll need an illusion of my mortal appearance for polite company.
Good call.
I've told Harding about the ritual. I'll inform the others afterwards. But there's something I need to speak to you about as well, dearest.
Whatever you need, I'm here.
Where to begin? Lichitom is a transformation of body and soul. A change in how I sense and feel. And I will still feel, but...
Wait, what are you saying?
Rook, dearest, I'm becoming undead.
I know.
When we met, I never imagined you'd be interested in... Then after you were, How can we be together once I go into death?
You're lucky I think skulls are cute.
What are you saying?
Remember when we talked in the Memorial Gardens? About how you might be undead one day? I am a necromancer. I know how strange things might get with lichdom. But I care about you, Emmrich. If you feel the same, we'll figure out the rest. Unless you think you'll be too busy with lichdom for me.
Never.
What's this lichdom rite actually like?
I must pass through the gates and meet the oldest forces in the necropolis. A final appraisal of my soul.
Hail the living! Emmrich Volkarin and his chosen witness. Rook, the young watcher who has vexed the cruel elven gods.
Collect yourselves for the right.
I'm afraid this is as far as you're permitted. If anything should perchance go wrong, my dearest heart, you are the most magnificent thing to ever happen to me.
I love you.
I love you too, my darling. I am come to be judged by the dead.
Emmrich?
I see so much more clearly now. The deeper eddies of the Fade, the pulse of the necropolis. I have been through blood and darkness, and I have emerged into light.
Emmrich, now that you're... do you still feel...
Oh, my love, come walk the gardens with me. Thank you for coming, everyone. Please, bear with me. This will be rather difficult to explain. I may appear the same as always, as I stand before you, but I've recently undergone a ritual that...
I thought you'd have a skull face. Like a skeleton.
It must be his glamour. It's really something, Professor. I can't sense you're a lich at all.
Harding!
Oh, no. Was becoming a lich a secret?
So, the lich stuff is true, and you crossed that line.
That's strictly between Emmrich, myself, and the Morn Watch. And apparently Harding.
I'm really sorry, Emmrich.
I'm not angry. I'm only disappointed.
No. That's worse.
Just tell me you'll keep your skin on.
That's not how it...
I should take notes.
Look, why don't we just start from the beginning?
Are you satisfied? Yes, I have entered Lichdom, and I am not an abomination, or a demon, or a disconsolate spirit. I have become something more. And yet I am still fully possessed of myself.
So you are a skeleton. Got it. I'm not packing up Emmerich's 15,000 books and skulls, so...
Thank you, Rook, but please allow me. I'd like to think some of us have become friends. I value that more than you might know. But I am changed, and I would never cause you distress by staying where I'm no longer welcomed.
You're no weirder than you were before.
You're still you, no matter what you look like.
You all... Really?
I think you'll be fine.
Okay, now, question time.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. We face Gillenane soon. When we do, there's no reason you couldn't stay back a ways.
What?
I'll be far more difficult to kill. You needn't face her head on.
First, no. Second, what brought this on?
I can see the life course through you, my love, like a thread of diamond flame. Yet I will lose you to time, Rook. What if I can't bear that for eternity?
That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
What?
Remembering me forever?
I'm afraid I'll mourn you forever.
That's ridiculous.
Do you think so little of what I feel for you?
No!
Then you could act accordingly.
I'm not going to be afraid of dying just because you are.
Rook,
We should get ready. I have to leave soon. Why do you look mortal? I thought no one in the necropolis minds that you're a lich.
I didn't want to alarm any citizens sheltering down here from Elganon's vulgar display of power. And the necropolis's enchantments will help detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
If you and the others hadn't pulled me out, some watcher I was, stuck in the Fade. And the worst part? I wasn't afraid I'd die. I was afraid I'd be there forever.
You're not. You're here with me. But you've been through so much these past days. You must need rest.
Emmrich? You know you don't have to hide your face from me.
I will let nothing part us again, my love. Not in this, nor any other world. Rook? Are you awake?
I don't know.
It's morning, my love.
You sure?
Far above, the stars have just given way to the sun.
I'm still getting used to you having new senses.
I never expected to hear the stars whisper across the firmament.
I'll bet. Quiet in this part of the necropolis, as always.
The world waits above, but we have some time to tarry.
What should we do?
Whatever you desire.
You can see all these new things, Emmerich. Is there any way I can share that?
It's difficult for the living to dwell long where I am, my love. But, yes, for a little while.
It's beautiful.